Welcome to a tape-delayed IntyCenter 1957, and I'll do my best to sound like it's more of a period piece and have that 1957 accent. I'll be watching old match games to really help me gear up for that one. Anyways, to get us started, we'll start with high drama in Queens, New York, where after falling behind 4-0 early, the Enhancers found themselves down 4-2 and down to their final out. That's when Kirby Puckett broke Emma and Jedi's heart and hit a game-tying 2-run homer to send us to extras. In the 11th, Hall of Famer Rod Carew got a 2-out RBI double and put the Gales on top 5-4. But the Gales would shoot themselves in the foot and look like Elmer Fudd with Bugs Bunny, and they give this one away. Chuck Klein reached on an error to open the inning. He scored the tying run on a passed ball, and Eddie Collins drives in the winning and unearned run to give the extra innings walk-off win to the Enhancers. Steve Carlton was indeed the Stevest Carlton, going the distance and giving up 2 runs on 7 hits. Unfortunately for Let's Play 2, Rube Waddell was even stevier. A complete game shutout, giving up just 5 hits and striking out 5. Archie Vaughn and Cristobal Torriente drove in runs for the throws, and they take this one 2-0. And maybe Nolan Ryan won't be the only Zodiac Guardians pitcher capable of throwing a good outing. Charles Karsten Sabathia gave them 8 innings of 2-hit, 1-run baseball, but it looked like it might be for naught as a 4th inning Mookie Betts, love that guy's last name, sac fly was the only run of the game entering the 9th. But a 4-run 9th capped by a bases-clearing double from Adrian Beltre that saw him thrown out at third to end the inning, and aided by a throwing error from Willie Mays, put the Guards on top 4-1. Mariano Rivera would load the bases with 1 out, but get a ground out with the runner retired at home and a routine ground out to get out of it and give the win to the Guards. We go on to the second day of games, and we start with a bunch of zeros put up by Dutch Leonard and Roy Partlow, as we were scoreless entering the 8th inning. But a leadoff walk to Huey from the boys would come around to haunt Amazing, as he would score on a Stan Musial single, and Sithy would add a second run on a Larry Jones sac fly. Sithy would get 2 more in the 9th, which was good because Joe Morgan would lead off the bottom of the 9th with a solo homer. And 2 batters later, Joe Medwick hit a 2-run shot to make it 4-3. But Leonard would retire Jimmy Fox, the pinch-hitting Johnny Bench, and Dan Brothers. That would cap his complete game and get that 4-3 win for Sithy. But the best pitching performance of the day was in Seattle, where Tim Lincecum tossed a complete game, 3-hit shutout with 5 Ks and no walks. Roy Parnell, Bill Dolan, Barry Bonds, and Bill Dickey each homered, and the Pilots absolutely beat up the Guards 10-0. On to the final game of this opening set, and we'll start with the game in Colombia, where Madrigal and Shaq each had only 1 inning where they scored. For a Shaq of their own, it was a 2-runner in the 5th on a double from Ned Williamson and a 2-out single from Ted Williams. Then in the 7th, Madrigal got 5 with a Tommy Holmes base-clearing double, the big blow. Christy Mathewson retired all 8 batters he faced in relief. He and Madrigal get the win 5-2. We were tied at 4 in Taiwan, and Toad Ramsey was looking for his 2nd complete game of the season. But Keto Marte and Ken Griffey Jr. would double and single to open the inning. And after a Jason Kendall ground out, Willie Wells would deliver a pinch hit double to score 2. Cleveland's own Ed Delahunty would add an RBI double, and Mike Scott would relieve Ramsey, letting an inherited runner score, and then end the inning on a Cal Ripken Jr. flyout with the Bags up 8-4. Charlie Sweeney would give up singles to Bryce Harper and Juan Soto to make it interesting, but he'd retire Ozzie Smith and Yogi Berra to close it out and get the win for the Diamondbacks. As we swing into the second set of games, we continue one of the oddest trends of the early season. That's the Zodiac Guardians, where they are undefeated in series opening games and so far winless in all other games. This time it was thanks to a Madison Bumgarner gem. Mad Bum scattered 10 hits over 8 innings. He gave up just 2 runs. In a throwback to the Roy and Homer chase, Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire both homered. and the Guardians took it 3-2. What happened to Game of Throws? Well, outside of a Robbie Alomar homer, they got deGrominated. Jacob deGrom allowed just 3 hits over 8 innings and was backed by multi-hit games from Chuck Klein, Honus Wagner, and Todd Helton. Enhancers take the opener 4-1. Also, I just want to put out this controversial statement, but Ty Cobb and Willie Mays are really, and I mean really, good at baseball. Just saying. On to the second games in the series, an 8 innings of 6-hit ball with 1 run allowed from Jim Whitney and 9 innings of 5-hit ball with 1 run allowed from Jesse Tannehill wasn't enough to settle the latest in the battles between Shaq and the Demon Bags. Nope, this one would need extra innings, and in fact, we'd go all the way to the 13th inning with the game still tied at 1 until Jeff Bag and a Half got all and a half of an offering from Dazzy Vance. He deposited the homer into the seats. It was actually a grand slam. Mark Pryor worked the 13th, and the D-Bags got the 5-1 win. Ray Brown continues to fire on all cylinders for the Gales in November. He tossed a beauty on the mound, going the distance, giving up 1 run on 6 hits. At the plate, he had a single, a double, and an RBI. Charlie Bender takes the hard luck loss, going 8 innings, giving up 4 runs on just 6 hits. It took a lot of drama, but for the first time in franchise history, the Zodiac Guardians have won consecutive games. After Yogi Berra singled home the tying run at the top of the 9th, Aaron Judge hit a walk-off 2-run homer in the bottom of the 9th, giving the Guardians the dramatic 10-8 win. And on our last day of games this week, we had a 3-hitter, a 4-hitter, a 2-1 game, and a rainout. Randy Johnson was 1 out away from a complete game when he was yanked, but he allowed 1 run on 3 hits. It was a tight 3-0 game until the Pilots pulled away late with 6 runs in the 8th and 2 runs in the 9th for an 11-0 win. Good thing they couldn't let Johnson face one more batter with that tight, narrow 11-run cushion. Steve Carlson got his complete game, shutting out Let's Play 2 on just 4 hits while striking out 6. Frank Robinson homered, and Frank Thomas added an RBI single for a narrow 2-0 win. Then in Fairbanks, it was an RBI single by Kirby Puckett in the 4th to get the Enhancers on the scoreboard. Larry Walker added an RBI double in the 5th for the Enhancers, but an Elston Howard sac fly got one back for Game of Throws. We'd stay at that 2-1 line until the 9th when Craig Krimble would relieve Vita Blue, RIP, and get a 1-2-3 9th to get the 2-1 win for the Enhancers. Blue gave up 1 run on 6 hits over 8 innings to get the win posthumously. Rube Waddell went 9, giving up 2 runs on 8 hits, and that is definitely what we call a hard luck loss. And the last note we're going to make, the finale of the Bandwagoners and Guardians was postponed. It'll be made up the next time the Bandwagoners make Denver one of their every cities, which will happen in June. This makes history as the first time we have a rainout in Fadus that's not immediately made up the next day. Congratulations, Heels, making history everywhere you go. That'll do it this time for IntyCenter 1957. We'll try to work in more period pieces next time when we do another wrap around Fadus.